बहुत ही बुरा चल रहा है, तो कंटेंट में भी क्या हो रहा है, we'll chat about that. But I want to first ask you guys one question, and each of you, and we can go around the panel. Do you think your professional journeys would be very different right now if OTT did not exist? Nimisha, you want to go first?
Wow, I don't want to imagine a scenario where OTT didn't exist, but thinking what would have happened, I would have been doing a daily soap called Meek Banunga Khodi Chalunga very happily, cribbingly, but yeah, I mean, I would have been having sleepless nights, sad days of what am I really doing with my talents that I believed I have. So yeah, it would have been a very, very sad scenario now.
Well, my first show, I only made Rocket Boys 1 and 2, and both of them are OTT shows. So I wouldn't have been sitting here. You wouldn't have invited me. People wouldn't have. If people have seen it, great. People wouldn't have known me. So so far, wherever I've come, it's because of the fact that there is OTT. I was allowed to tell Rocket Boys the way I wanted to, without worrying about the commercials of it, the worrying about the hero's arc, the usual things that are needed when you make a film. I was allowed to make Rocket Boys as a show which could show my protagonists as flawed, imperfect characters. And I think that was the beauty and that was the strength of Rocket Boys. So had OTT not been in place, I would have not been able to make the show the way I wanted to. So I'm really grateful that this medium is there, that allows filmmakers like me to do whatever we want to do, at least till the time OTT also becomes polluted.
We'll come to that. We are fast going in that direction.
First of all, hi everyone. So nice to be here. Thank you, Smriti. Thank you, Varsha, for having us. My life would have looked pretty different if OTT hadn't come in. The thing that people knew me from the most, in spite of having done quite a bit of films, was Jolly LLB 2 right before this, because it's a staple for television, you know, and they play it every second day, so everywhere you go, they're like, and it's lovely. Madam, I'm Jolly LLB mein thi na? So post that, it was, of course, I had done Inside Edge, which was, you know, Amazon's first thing ever in India, but 4 more shots, you know, and Smriti, you and I speak about this, that it's quite a case study, because it's, you know, you can't really sort of foresee what's going to happen. You know, everyone wants to make a decent show or a good film, but it sort of grew so rapidly, and each season it did better and better, and everywhere I go, people call me by that name, you know, Damini, and my mother gets really pissed off sometimes, like, why do people talk about FOMO shots all the time? There are other things that you've done, which she obviously prefers because she wasn't allowed to watch FOMO shots, but yeah, so life would have been very different, and I think everyone, be it technicians, be it actors, each and every person, even your carpenters and light boys and daily wage earners, everyone has, like, their work has multiplied, and there is work for everyone. Good, bad, ugly, we'll come to that later, but there is work for everyone, and I think what OTT has done is break the status quo that was there for a long, long period of time. So, of course, very, very grateful, and we are all here because OTT is here. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I really feel like I'm competing with that music.
Yeah, can we reduce the music there?
Yeah, this is like on set now where I'm always screaming, trying to compete with other sounds. But hi guys, I'm Sonam. My career would have been, I don't know where I would have been. मेरी तो lottery लग गई when OTT came. Because I think I was trying to make OTT stuff before OTT, but like it wasn't fitting theatrical. And I was just like feeling like so lost, and I just thought there was no space for my stories that I wanted to say. Even my film, like it should have been an OTT film really. And it's now also gets so much love on OTT that I'm like, yeah, why didn't it come like 5 years earlier? Then I could have just been in OTT only. There was no reason for me to try and do theatrical. It's not my vibe. And now I just feel like I found the exact medium that was meant for me. So everything that I've done is OTT. It's not television, it's not theatrical, it's OTT. And I feel like it was made at the right time for my career to blossom.
Hi everyone. So yes, I think it goes without saying that all of us look at OTT as a blessing, but I think the bigger question is where would entertainment be if OTT hadn't come in? You know, and I feel like especially with a lot of creators going on to a shorter format like Instagram and Reels and posts, it's great that we have something that's gone the other way, which is much longer format. Storytelling has changed. The way we are now looking at telling stories has changed, as Abhay has just said. And what Chinks just said is, you know, where is the space for cinematic TV? And that was waiting to explode, and I think that's really what's changed the game for all of us. And there is obviously no filmmaker or storyteller who will ever say that it's not been the best thing to happen to entertainment. So, 100%.
You know, now, 7 years in 2015, of course, things started to heat up and people started to come in. There were three things when we speak about democracy. There's democracy of talent, and we see that democracy right here. All of you feel that your careers would have been very different if OTT didn't come in. There's democracy in terms of stories that you can tell. And then there's, of course, democracy in terms of the demographics that your stories are reaching. But more and more, what has begun to happen is that the same kind of things, the status quo that was broken, the same things are now coming and entering the OTT space, which is, number one, the star chasing. So, the business model, the OTT business model, and I say this with all kinds of reservations, was basically, I mean, how do you make money, right? It was a platform essentially for newer voices so that you keep the voices new, you keep the cost low, and you keep the quality high. But all of that has now started to change because the OTTs want the bigger names, and independent films or creators who are not very well known, people are not taking a punt on them. It's not a blanket thing, it's not everybody who's doing that, but I know that the sensibility has shifted. How's that? How are you handling that pressure? Because that's definitely coming.
I mean, that's really annoying that that's coming in, but it's truly coming in. The reason that a lot of us wanted to do OTT was to get away from the star system. That's like we want to put emphasis on stories and scripts and not who's in the poster. So we started, and this started OTT, and I was like, yes, finally all of us, and we can take good actors who fit the part, and you know, who are from the region that the story is based in, and all of that. And then now it's like, it's almost a must to get any project greenlit, you have to have a star attached, which used to be the case in films, and now it's the case here. And it's like, what annoys me is that even if it's a person who's not good for the part, even if that person has not done a film in 20 years, but used to be a film star, that person is more, you can greenlight a project much more easily with that person's name than a really good actor who's done like a couple of OTT projects and is like really well loved, but that's like secondary now. So I'm honestly very annoyed that the star system is coming in here. I feel like it's going to ruin the democracy of storytelling that we have.
Just to add to that, the star system is definitely coming back, but now there's a new demon in the room, which is the followers. You know, I know people who are not getting cast in spite of giving a really good audition, the maker wanting that actor because they don't have more following than other people who are being cast. So, you know, you guys who are on the other side, I'm sure, you know, every step of the way there's a new thing, new monster that's sort of coming into the room and you have to deal with it. So definitely I feel it's going away, and I feel we need to revisit it, get everyone in the same room and be like, guys, what are you doing? You know, let's just figure this out together, regroup.
Nimisha, I'm going to throw this at you because Nimisha is like, I was waiting. So, ex-Netflix, ex-All Balaji, I know you're on the other side of the fence. I want to know how this shift has happened, because was there data that said that people are watching because, you know, there is a popular person in there, or if you get a bigger star, because this shift has also happened post-pandemic. I mean, the pandemic has led to meteoric, sort of rise in terms of OTT. The numbers, we are the sixth largest country OTT growth, in terms of OTT growth. But how is it that platforms have come to this conclusion that we need bigger stars?
Okay, platforms, and when you say platforms, and I'm well aware that we are talking of a generic scenario there, but I do want to say very strongly here that I have been at the helm of decision making at Z5 for 2 years, and we have launched a new slate for last 1 year. You pick up the show, whether it was Vineet Singh or Amrita Subhash or this fresh boy called Ashim Gulati who is heading Taj. We have really tried not to give in to the star attraction, okay? But here is the thing, right? To begin with, and like Sonam really rightly said, that it is about the storytelling and the characters. But you know what? I get producers and creators come and pitch to me saying, "One line chodo aap, ye XYZ star hai." And that's really how the conversations have started to begin. And you have to give them one reality check that, no, that's not happening. You tell me the story first. Interestingly, even though you see so many star-led shows coming out, but really apart from one exception or so, you tell me the big shows with superstars that have actually really worked well. So it is, it's actually writing on the wall, and I don't feel so scared about the whole star culture. What I actually feel scared about us not realizing that OTT ने हमको जो power दी है, अब what is the responsibility that we have? See, the thing is, every industry is only going to survive when everybody involved in the business is going to make money.
You're right.
Right. Irrespective of whatever the industry is. Now, in OTT, if we don't realize that we have to control cost so that we can make stories and shows for a niche audience, for a smaller audience. We want to make shows for smaller audience, but we want to make them at a cost of crores and crores. So that's not going to work out, right? And I think that awareness, both at the creators and the platforms end, is extremely important. Abhay, you wanted to say something?
I think I'll have to be very loud because I have to compete with those guys. I think to just mirror what Nimisha said, I think with democracy comes responsibility. With democracy comes self-discipline. I think it can't be democracy for me and autocracy for somebody who's living in Agra. I mean, if I want to make a story, or I want to tell a story about two nuclear physicists of India, who I'm sure everybody sitting here wouldn't know about, I cannot make it in a way that will, isolate people. I cannot make it in a way that people will not find these characters relatable. The way forward, I feel, if OTT has to be the way it is, and all of us filmmakers get to make films and shows on this platform the way we want it, is if we keep it more inclusive. If we try to make it a show that a person sitting in Jhalawad in Rajasthan can also sort of understand. Because at the end of the day, it's still business. When TV started in 1980s in India, it was again a great medium for people to come and explore and tell stories in the most honest way. And I think that's how OTT started as well. But I think we all forget that at the end of the day, it's business. if I can keep making the shows the way I want to, and if they're not making money from the platforms, eventually they will resort to what TV resorted to in the 90s, which is happening anyway. I mean, if I don't want to throw Nimisha under the bus here, but I think every platform right now is already considering making it a 100-episode show. They're saying कि आप 100 करोड़ में 8 एपिसोड क्यों बना रहे हो? आप 100 करोड़ में 100 एपिसोड बनाओ.
Why are you depressing or something?
I am telling you the truth.
No, but I think one of the things that I believe is that to fight the star system, because stars are as old as movies, as entertainment. You literally can go back to the Chaplin and all of that. So I think to think that the star system will not exist or fall down is a bit of a utopian idea. I think what we are talking about is as the OTT medium and platforms come in, there's more space for more stars. There will never be, even when TV came in, then we had TV stars. Within that hierarchy, there's a separate pyramid, right? So the hierarchy will stay in somewhat, but I think as far as there's more space, and as far as what Nimisha was saying, which is absolutely right, as far as your intention is not to be driven just by that. Yes, we'll all have to be going beyond. You can do things that are also not star driven. So you do one big star show and you can do 2 small shows. And I think that would be a better way to kind of just go forward.
Also, what happens, I think nobody minds the stars per se. I think it's about the burden it puts on the production, where you give that much amount of money to a star and then the production suffers and your show suffers. It's like counterproductive sometimes when it's not intelligently mounted.
I also feel like there's a hangover of like film star versus OTT star, and like it's not like that's not reality right now. Like a really big breakout star who came from a really popular OTT show is not given the same leverage as like a film star who was a film star in the 80s. And that's not reality. People will watch the OTT star, but there is a hangover of like, no, but they did films, so they are bigger somehow. And I think that's the stupid part. Stars, obviously the popularity of a person helps the show. It's not going to harm it, but yeah, it has to be realistic.
But you know, Smriti, what you said about more money and the stars taking a big sum and, you know, of that production budget, what, from my experience, the production budget of a certain film or a show could be this, but the platform says that if you manage to get a bigger name, we will increase the budget. So now then you have the money, you know, so there is something that is not matching, you know, and summing up there.
Because
also, very important thing, a big star can help people to watch the show. They'll come and sample the show. But that is the power of the medium that we're talking about. अगर नहीं बस story में दम नहीं है, show में दम नहीं है, वो आधे episode के बाद छोड़ के चले जाएंगे. So that anyways is of no use, right? So the stars can only as much help you get that audience, but once that audience starts to watch the story, then आप star है, OTT star है, newcomer है, television star है, it doesn't matter.
one question that I really want to ask you guys is that there are no numbers. You don't know which show is done well, which show is not done well. I'm not putting you in a spot. I would put Nimisha in the spot again. I know none of the platforms are sharing numbers. There is, of course, some reason for it. But because you don't have numbers and because the OTTs have grown exponentially during the pandemic, the only metric you have, and it has given inordinate amount of power to influencers, to critics, to opinion makers. I just want to know that what happens, you know, you always had a recourse. A filmmaker who's making a certain kind of cinema would always say, okay, fine, I've got the box office numbers. I might not have critical acclaim. But now career paths are, and perception and everything is changing because critics are beginning to sort of decide the validation and where you are in the ecosystem is coming from there. At least they have that power.
I have just witnessed this because my show just came out yesterday. So I'll tell you all a story that my father used to tell me when I was very young. एक बार I'll say it in Hindi. I hope Hindi is not a problem. So I'm so sorry, people in the back. Can I say it in Hindi though? All right. Okay. माई फादर यूज्ड टू टेल मी कि एक बार एक आदमी एक गधे के ऊपर बैठ के जा रहा था, उसके साथ में उसका छोटा 8 साल का बेटा भी साथ जा रहा था। तो उनको रास्ते में एक आदमी मिला, उसने कहा कि कितने बेवकूफ़, मतलब क्या ज़माना आ गया कि मतलब बाप गधे पे बैठा है और जो बेटा है वो ज़मीन पे चल रहा है, इस बाप का दिल नहीं है क्या? तो कहते ओ हो ओके ओके ओके। सो वो खुद उतर जाता है और बच्चे को गधे पे बिठा देता है। देन दे मूव फॉरवर्ड, वो आगे बढ़ते हैं। आगे बढ़ने के बाद में उनको दूसरा आदमी मिलता है, वो कहता है कि क्या मतलब बेदर्द, इतना जुल्मी बच्चा है ये, इसका 40 साल का बाप पैदल चल रहा है, ये खुद गधे बैठा है, इसको शर्म नहीं आती? तो बाप कहता है ओहो अच्छा। तो फिर वो दोनों गधे बैठ जाते हैं, फिर वो दोनों गधे बैठ के आगे चलना शुरू करते हैं। फिर गधे बैठने के बाद उनको तीसरा आदमी मिलता है, बोलता है कि इतने बेदर्द लोग हैं ये लोग, ये गधे को बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, गधे को मार रहे हैं बेचारे को। तो कहते हैं ओ नो ओके, सो यू फील सैड फॉर द गधा। तो गधे से उतर जाते हैं और पैदल चलना शुरू करते हैं। फिर इनको चौथा आदमी मिलता है, वो कहता है कि इतने बड़े गधे हैं ये कि इनके पास गधा है, तो ये गधे पे बैठ के क्यों नहीं जा रहे? सो हम नो मैटर व्हाट वी डू, there will be certain people who will like it, there will be certain people who won't like it. I think as creators, as filmmakers, one of the learnings that I've had after the release of the second season of Rocket Boys is that first season there were certain things that people didn't like about my show. I tried to correct them in this season. This time people said, oh, but last time you had this, why didn't you do this? So now you've given into the commercial aspects of filmmaking. So you're a bad filmmaker. So no matter what we do, these people are all, I mean, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's their job to in a way tell us what they feel. And as filmmakers, it's our job to listen to them and continue making what we think is right. So I think I'll speak for all of us here when we say that I don't think it affects us so much. Shakun, I don't know what you, Sonam, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like who's going to tell us if our show did well or not? Someone has to tell us, right? No, the channels are not telling us really. The OTT platforms are not telling us. So I am like, कोई तो बता दो अच्छा लगा कि नहीं. तो अभी लोग बता रहे हैं social media, people you run into. Like today, now I'm looking for houses. Whichever house I go to, there I'll say मैंने मसाबा. Oh, मसाबा. So I'm like, लगता है show did well because the landlord knows. Who will tell us? So I'm like, thankfully some people are there telling us. Now, when things don't do well, then also there are people telling you. That's the not so nice part. But I'm like, there has to be someone. So now people have taken up that onus on themselves कि हम बताएंगे तो ठीक है. Better than numbers, I feel.
I think the new metrics has to be defined. I think it's still undefined, right? And when people talk about in theatrical we talk about 100 crores, 150 crores. In OTT it's about how many minutes got watched in the first week or weekend. But I think for me, till about 3 years ago, the real place was YouTube comments. People are just brutal. They don't give a shit. They'll tell you that this is the shittiest thing I ever watched. But now we've started buying YouTube comments also. So now there are bots on YouTube comments. So I just genuinely think where we are as a society, it's up to you. You can choose to believe you made the greatest shit ever. But I think the true test, which I think Fincher said, is time. Will somebody still talk to you about what you made after 2 years, 1 year, 3 years? That's the only real thing that you can gauge. I think everything else is a short-term, quick result idea of a report card, But you got a longevity is the only test.
But what about the hashtag 1 year of this film and hashtag 2 years?
Well, today is 7 years. Today is 7 years of Kapoor and Sons. So hashtag.
We should round of applause, please.
Congratulations!
It's like you already
There you go.
made that film. Yeah, it will age. Years will go by. What is this thing? I don't
And
understand.
Kapoor and Sons is still date one of the best films to ever have come out of our country. And I'm not just
Absolutely,
saying
absolutely.
because, yeah.
There you go. I plugged it in. There you go.
But what does it do to the filmmaker? I know the true test, longevity, I get that. I'm talking about your next project getting greenlit. Because you have no recourse now. And the thing is that, okay, we are doing this panel right now, we are talking about, we were supposed to talk about democracy, now we are breaking down all the things that are problems and that are challenges. But I just want to know that if you don't have box office numbers and you don't have any scope for, I've not seen any scope of conversation in the discourse around cinema right now. So if 5 critics have decided or 5 opinion makers have decided that your product is shit, nobody is asking the filmmaker to counter it or to talk to you. It's like almost a lynch mob. So I just want to know what happens when you make something and it's not getting appreciated. Do people then greenlight your next project? What does it do to the equity of that maker, creator, actor?
I think I had a first-hand experience of like the really polarized opinion on my last film called Gehraiyaan, and it was very hard to get my head around it. But I think, yes, you have to fight harder for your next. You have to fight harder for the budget for your next. Star system is very greedy for who's in fashion right now. You know, so I think you have to keep going back to believing in yourself and telling yourself that I'm going to go do it again. And I think the bigger conversation is I don't think there are enough people having conversations about failure and what went wrong and how would you fix it. I think it's so much about just giving labels, successful, unsuccessful. But why are we not talking about what are the aspects that didn't work and how can we make it work? And I think that conversation could be really helpful.
Yeah, because those nuanced conversations are not happening for sure.
No, I just feel that, you know, earlier at least you watched a film, you got together and you talked about what you liked in a film or didn't like in a film, and it's all, everyone, film watching is a very, very personal experience. Between us, I've hated something that you've loved, and you know, but it's always important to have a conversation, and that's the only way to grow as makers. There is no other way. And numbers is a very secondary thing, I feel. Right now what's happening is there is this constant churning, you know, it's like a factory and you just keep giving in. Okay, it's a great time for writers, right? But what is the kind of writing that's coming out? You cannot give people 2 months to write a show. You need time to make it in the way that will, again, you know, sort of stay the test of time. Is if you gave it time and thought and intent, which is what is missing right now. So nobody is trying to understand or even have the intent to make a better film or make a better show. It's all about how much can you cram in this time.
You know, also because of the fact that growth also leads to, it leads to employment, it leads to people coming in. But what also happens, and Nimisha, you'll have to come in here, you need subscribers. And you need content for subscribers because people are consuming at a voracious rate. So a series comes out and you are done with 6 episodes over a weekend. If you're not somebody who gobbles like me, I would finish it in 6 hours flat. So, and then suddenly I'm like, Amazon has nothing, Z5 has nothing. Oh, Netflix is not releasing anything. How come I don't have anything to watch? So, green lighting, knowing that people are consuming like this and people are consuming across demographics. What is that doing to your slate? What does it do to, you know, making stuff, green lighting it, deadlines, timelines?
I mean, of course it's a challenge, but then all the pressure, just to sort of, you know, demystify this a little, all the pressure of catering to the audience is also not constantly on the original things that we commission, right? I mean, all the platforms now have so many films that, you know, after theatricals come on the platforms. For example, Z5 or other platforms that are affiliated with a broadcast network. We have a lot of television catching up that happens. So yes, I mean, you know, there is that pressure, but having said that, because I am coming from a space where I have been on floor and, you know, I know what it takes really to create a piece of content. I'm extremely mindful of not making it unreasonably, you know, painful for creators. But having said that, the machine needs to keep going. Yeah, this is the challenge. It needs to keep going. And you know, to your question of success of a show. See, it is. I mean, the reviews never impact green lighting of a show ever. nobody in any platform is sitting green lighting thinking is director ko kaise reviews mile the. It is really about what you made, what it did for the platform, and every show does different things for the platform, and I think that is what is extremely important to understand. So there will be a show that is important for a platform that it got new people to buy subscription. Then the viewing minutes that you spoke about, there are shows which are important because you've bought the subscription. Now it's because of those shows that you're engaged on those platforms. So what we call them is like they're driving engagement. And then there are shows that get us great reviews. So it is actually, you, as long as what you made is delivering on what you really made it for, it's a success. And on OTT, coming back to the happy side and the whole democratization part of it, no two successes look alike on OTT, and I think that is a fantastic thing, right? I mean, it needn't for Rocket Boys, a success can look different. For a FOMO Shots, a success could look different. For a Masaba or a Kafir, for Gehraiya, it can look different, and I think that is really phenomenal, right? And I think that really no reviewers or no data can take away from that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's great, actually.
Tell me one thing, how many of you are still hung up on theatrical?
I love going and watching films in the theatre. Yeah. I mean, as a viewer, there is no other experience as the theatre viewing experience on the big screen, but I feel that, there's this new thing that platforms have started that, which wasn't there earlier, that you have to release your film theatrically so that from what we hear is they don't have to spend money on P&A.
It's not for love for cinema. I can tell you that.
Well, definitely not. I don't know who anymore has love for cinema, but apart from the six of us. but and that in fact hampers the film, because I had a film called Sher Dil, right? Pankaj Tripathi, Neeraj Kavi and me. And no one went, I didn't go to the theatres. I was, outside the country shooting for something else. And nobody is going to the theatre anymore to watch a Hindi film, apart from Pathan, Rajat is here.
Go Rajat. If you're not liking a conversation, we have a big star from Pathan here. Please wave at them.
So apart from, those big films, only Shah Rukh Khan, everyone's willing to buy tickets for. And that, in a way, I feel makes the smaller films suffer, because generally the P&A happening from the platform side, the buzz created around it on social media, etc., always helps the films, yeah? But you're not getting this. Neither are you getting that where people are waiting to go to the theatres, and buying tickets, at the box office. That's not happening. So I believe all the smaller films, like, Sonam said, must come on the OTT. So there is now, especially after the pandemic, I feel there is a sort of demarcation of these are the films that can go and still do well right now. I'm sure in the next 2 years a lot of things will change, and hopefully they will change from what they are now.
Yeah, also I feel like the joy of going to the cinema has also gone down, honestly, because there's 20 minutes of ads, then you have a really big interval where they're yelling
And the tobacco ad.
Yeah, then the tobacco
Mukesh.
ad.
The tobacco ad needs to
Yeah, and you're so used to now watching nicely in your house that every person's phone light, it's annoying. So now, unless it's a Pathan, which is just maze karo, if it's a nice serious movie, I just want to watch it at home, honestly. And also what's the point in going for theatrical when the story you want to tell gets totally bastardized just to make that ticket money? There's no, I see zero reason, because the story I want to tell doesn't need 10 action scenes, one item number, some big star, some cameo. I don't want to do all that. Just let me tell my story. So it is so nicely just tell your story. Thank you.
I feel that external conflict is for theatre, internal conflict is for OTT.
So well said. I
we
could
need to
articulate
put
the
that on
way.
the t-shirt.
I think as long as we can make these two separate kinds of films or shows. I think both can coexist peacefully.
Or you can pitch an internal conflict as a sci-fi and somebody
That's what I'm
will
trying to
stand
do. That's what I'm trying to do.
by. Yeah, okay.
Guys, one last question. Am I allowed to open this to the house? Varsha? Okay. It's like March. Can I open it to? Okay, guys, do you have any questions?
Right at the end.
Why don't you?
Thank you. My name is Chiara Reed. I'm a journalist. I work in India since 8 years as a correspondent for Switzerland television. So my question is, when I came to India in 2000, what is the space with all these OTPs you have and all these televisions who are owned by the Adani and whatever? Where is the space for a documentary like the Modi question? It would never come out from India and no one would broadcast it. You have the duty to create this space because it's not on the main television, it can only be online. So can someone come up with something that is more free and democratic and allows a real debate on the real question the documentary filmmakers should be posing in this country? Thank you.
Ma'am, I think we'll need to elect a new government for that. It's as simple as that. I don't think I'm the least popular person here. So these guys will get into massive trouble. We'll have to elect people out, elect other people in for that kind of content. I completely agree with you.
And listen, we feel the same. We feel the same. We want to position the power, you know.
Shrouded defiances, ma'am. Next question. One more question.
Hi, thank you. I love all of your work firstly. Congrats on surviving in this mad show business world, I guess. I work in a right when your projects don't work out or it never sees the light of day and you have to say bye to it. I can't seem to come out of it and I was wondering if I could get some advice.
I am like a PhD in this. Like I have had so many projects not work out, work till the end, do full casting and not happen. I mean, at least 12 projects have not worked out for me. Films, OTTs, even short films, banake release nahi ho rahi hai, whatever. It's like an ongoing thing. Till last year I was working on something for a year and a half and then it just like dissolved. One thing I was working on for like 4 years, trying to get a film made. Everybody loves the script. They're like, but we want to cast stars. Not happening. One short film I made got like banned, censored, so it could not come out. I mean, many. Like,
Chinky and I met on a film and didn't get made by the way.
Yeah, which never happened. Fine, or sometimes you only get bored. 2, 3, I have only said, now I'm bored of this. I have nothing left to give. I have grown up. This was like, I wrote it 5 years ago when I was a child. So now what happens is I try to let go faster. Earlier I would just hang on to something forever, like I have to finish this is the one. Now I just take stock and I feel like okay, I've tried twice, thrice, something is not working out. Let's let go faster and like put the same energy in something else. Because it's not personal. Like earlier I used to think like, is it me? Is it happening just to me? Everybody's films are getting made, such faltu films are getting made. But then you're like, it's not personal, it's like something is not fitting right. And when you just use that energy on something else, that's where I've seen like some things I've not thought that they would do well. I'm just doing for fun. I'm just like, hey, this sounds fine, let's do it. Those have really taken off. And my passion projects are still sitting. Nothing I've been able to make, which is my own, really, for many years. And I'm almost scared to like take my own ideas out there because I'm like, oh God, now I have to face, now at some level it'll get, either dissolve or like reach a certain stage and then I'll have to let go. But the only thing I tell other people also is like start letting go faster and stop thinking it's your problem. It's like a lot of things. And do things for fun. Stop thinking like this is one big thing that will happen. Just start doing little things for fun. After a certain amount of years you'll be like, "Oh, I never thought of
मैं मजाक कर रहा हूँ. Right now we are like indie film fighting Salman Khan box office.
Yeah.
So I can't hear half the things, but yeah, I'll come closer.
Sorry. So I have a question for you. What are the challenges you face while making a film, whether it's on set or off set, except for like actor से काम निकालने का?
Actor से काम निकालना 70%
Why are you looking at me, brother? मैं वैसे actor नहीं हूँ, मैं काम करके आती हूँ.
I know, ma'am. I know.
हर एक से काम ही निकलवाना है. प्रोड्यूसर से बजट निकालना है, एक्टर से एक्टिंग निकलवानी है, कैमरामैन से dates. Listen, filmmaking, let me, if I can say just for myself, I'm sure others feel probably the same. A lot of filmmaking is not just creatively sitting there and telling people what to do. A lot of it comes down to chasing people, getting shit done, getting your hands dirty. And if you're not ready, and actually my respect for great filmmakers have gone up because I've realized they made great films while doing all of that. So I think you have to know that you have to do all of that, which is the non-fun part that everyone hates, but you have to do all of that and still stay creative. And that's the real challenge. You are literally driving an F1 car in Borivali to Bandra. It's that. So it's not going to be great, smooth tracks. You got to fight it, you know. So
How did you accept your failure?
I don't accept.
Have your own ambits of power, right? Where you can actually change things in whichever way that you can. We all know the challenges, we've all spoken about it, we speak about it not only at panels but even at parties and otherwise. I just want to say, what is it that you, maybe top 3 things that you try and change within that ambit of power while you're operating? What is it that you bring to the table in terms of being that change that you need or want to see out there?
I'll start off with one thing. I think there's a lot of talk of inclusivity of cast, making sure that there's diversity in casting. I think there should be diversity in crew formation as well.
Absolutely.
I think that's very important. I think if I can get a writer from Indore to work for me, I would be able to understand India a little better. And as we're making stories for Indians and Indian citizens, I think it's more important to not just get writers but everybody from all over the country. I think that's very important and that's something that doesn't happen here. I think most of us are Bombay people still, and we're all trying to make what we think is right, what we think works, what we've learned after watching international cinema or even Indian cinema. I think what we need to do is get people from all over the country to come and work with us. I think that should be implemented.
Absolutely right. I think nurturing and talking about star system, sometimes you can't fight the star system, but then bring other people in at other levels who are freshers. And I think on every project, the idea of bringing in at least 3 to 4 new people, new kids who can see a big set, how it functions. I think that's maybe one small way of kind of just bringing some new things.
Yeah, I think in the content that I'm writing and directing, that I'm really pushing to show women's lives in India as they are, without having really dramatic things happen to women and only those are worthy of storytelling. I'm just showing our regular lives, giving it that importance that this is also worthy of being shown. It's not just only if some horrible thing happens to women, then only you can show it. So I'm just pushing because it's just normalizing our lives and making them important enough to be on screen. And then behind the scenes, I kind of try to lead by example also, but I am very much like a motivator for young women. And I'm just they start my crew very mousy and quiet, and by the end they are hey, idhar karo, wo udhar karo, they become these dadas. And creatively also tell your stories, don't be afraid, go for it, I'll help you. So yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with showing women on screen and empowering them off screen.
One thing that I try to do and I've always done is the politics of anything that I sort of sign up for, any kind of story, be it an ad to a short film to a feature film to a show. The politics of everything is very, very important to me, and the portrayal and the representation, not just upri surface pe aise, wo not tokenism, but truly understanding where these people or which the milieu they come from, all of that, and to be able to portray that authentically, but also sort of push, the writer or the director or, your collaborators to sort of come from there and to really understand what is this story and what, why are you wanting to tell this story, because I feel a lot of, these days I see a lot of morcha wale filme and shows and that I feel does more harm than good. So again, that is one thing that will always be at the forefront for me as a storyteller, a creative person. But also, I feel, helping each other and making it यार हम ना जंग लगता है रोज जंग पे जा रहे हैं पर जंग नहीं है और हम सब कर रहे हैं जो भी फिल्में बनाती है nobody has put a gun to your head saying ये करना ही है. Most of us have probably fought with parents, really have had a like life and a journey to do what we do, and that's why we are here. So the least you can do is create an environment which is not hierarchical, which is where there is respect for talent, respect for labor, because it's a very, very hard working, everyone's working bloody hard, and from your setting dadas to your light boys who come the first and end, go home the last, sometimes sleep on the sets because the trains are too. So just be respectful and help each other, because if you don't do that, you can never be able to create something which is truly collaborative and truly joyful, and that's the only way I feel magic will happen.
Guys, I'm so sorry Abhay has to leave. He's still promoting his show. Watch Rocket Boys 2.
Actually, I have to go to IIT Bombay and they want to murder me for murdering science.
Executive, these suits, what I'm really trying hard is to put a heart in that suit, and I'm trying to be the voice of the creators in that boardroom, which I think is extremely, extremely important. I mean, making sure that it's not nothing against MBA graduates, but I'm making sure that it's not just the MBA graduates taking calls on content basis clinical data, so that is something that's a fight I am personally fighting.
Guys, keep fighting the good fight. Thank you, because if you don't fight, this is going to continue to be democratized. Just like many other things. God, I'm so bubbling for trouble. But thank you so much. One last question we can take.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone likes to speculate what the average Indian cinema goer or viewer will change, like the striking change in what your average Indian viewer wants versus say a decade ago in terms of like their tastes and expectations from content.
No, one thing I'm sure the three of them would know about this, the four of them would know about this much more, but I am told that nobody has attention span beyond 10 seconds now, which is very, very scary, and which is something my editor friends are complaining about all the time, because the producers come, not the director, but the producers are like, nahi dekhenge ye, itna lamba take kyun hai? And we are people who love long takes, like please give me a 4-minute, 5-minute, 7-minute take. If the card is there, we will just do it. But apparently attention span is something. So I've just done a short film with Dibakar Banerjee. I'm talking about it because I saw the edit last night, and my friend Parumita, who's also from FTI, they have tried a millennial edit pattern, which is very, very interesting to see how a filmmaker and a creative sort of team is trying to take into account the changing times and attention spans or whatever that is. So it's quite interesting to see, and maybe some people would be able to sort of grapple with that and find pivot.
So एक time पे directors cut होता था, millennials cut है.
Gen Z cut, you mean millennials?
One more question. One last
Millennial
question.
I want to add to that. Yeah, I just want to add to that. While of course this is, but the good news is, you know, the audience, the themes, the characters. So if you look at the last 10 years of content and everything, the acceptance towards newer themes, grayer characters, you know, unconventional storytelling, that is really, really on a rise. So, you know, there is hope, you know, it is. So that's really wonderful and heartening to see. You tell a story well, you catch their attention, you make sure whatever cuts need to be done to have that attention, but then you can tell the story that really needs to be told, which I think we are in a far better place where we were a few years back.
Also, I feel like in OTT, it's not like everybody likes one kind of thing. Like I'm watching a zombie show, then I'm also watching like Schitt's Creek, but I'm also watching like some historical. I mean, I'm one person, so everybody has different times of the month or day or year where they want to watch this kind of content or that. So I think there's no need to like cater to a certain. There's an audience member in your brain that is like, this is the guy that we're making this for. It's like that guy might want to watch Masaba also. I mean, who cares? So I think that has changed, where it's not like you're going out and buying a ticket. It's like, घर पे बैठे यार अभी सुबह I want to watch Friends, but then in the afternoon I want to watch a little arty movie. So that's also changing. Who can predict?
Guys, we are out of time, so thank you so much for joining us, and thank you guys for listening and for asking questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please enjoy this fabulous festival that Varsha and the team have, homegrown team have put together. Thank you all for coming.
We are, you know, what to say, similar colors. Thank you.
Okay. Hi.
Listen, I'm in this such esteemed company of these amazing people. तो अब मैं क्या ही
It was
बोलूं?
really fun. We were thinking it was gonna go one way, but then we just started talking, so we were honest. We all just said actually what we felt. It wasn't very like, you know, politically correct or, you know, rehearsed. It was very organic, so that was fun.
सर मैं तो बहुत मिडिल एजेड क्राइसिस से गुजर रही हूँ अभी तो मैं तो बहुत ही खुश हूँ कि मुझे इनवाइट किया गया है ये जेंजी फेस्टिवल में बिकॉज यू नो आई विल feel younger. That's why you can see us. Look at us. So and homegrown that Varsha runs and her team has been doing incredible work. You know, in terms of fashion, in terms of showing the limelight on new talent. There's so much on music, all kinds of artists. There's their exhibitions. So it's a really cool festival to be part of. I'm just really glad that Varsha, Shakun, and Smriti asked me to be part of this panel, and it was just a bunch of friends. हम लोग यही बातें शायद किसी के घर में लिविंग रूम में कॉफ़ी पीते हुए करते हैं और आज लोग आए हमें वही बातें सुनने के लिए और बहुत ही ऑनेस्ट कॉन्वर्सेशन रहा और मज़ा आया और अभी हम पूरा देखेंगे ये स्पेस और क्या क्या हो रहा है इधर.
स्टोरी टेलिंग ईजी नहीं हो गया है मगर अलग अलग तरह की कहानियाँ बता सकते हैं. स्टोरी टेलिंग हमेशा से ही थोड़ा टफ है मगर हाँ थोड़ा स्कोप खुल गया है. अब अलग अलग तरह की कहानियाँ बता सकते हैं.
हाँ और हर टाइप के ऑडियंस के लिए आप बता सकते हैं स्टोरीज. पहले सिर्फ स्पेसिफिकली बड़ी स्टोरीज बड़े पर्दे की, बट अब छोटी छोटी कहानियाँ भी हम बोल सकते हैं, सो दैट इज अ बेनिफिट फॉर श्योर.
पहले तो मेरा नाम शायोनी है, ठीक है.
बड़ी सयानी है.
यार मैं तो हमेशा से बोलती हूँ कि OTT के लिए जो टैलेंट है, जो मेरिट है, टेक्नीशियंस, डायरेक्टर्स, राइटर्स, एक्टर्स, सभी के लिए बहुत एक नए एवेन्यूज खुल गए हैं. और जैसे सोनम ने कहा, हर तरीके के आप दिल्ली के या धनबाद के या मिर्ज़ापुर के या फिर कर्नाटका के कहीं पे के भी स्टोरीज आप बता सकते हैं. और वो खुल गया है, एक जो हायरार्की था उसको चैलेंज करता है OTT. एंड एक्टर्स के लिए यार बहुत बढ़िया हो गया है. पहले बोलते थे काम नहीं, अब इतना काम है सबके पास, टचवुड. तो हाँ, मतलब खाता खुल गया है सबका, तो बहुत बढ़िया है. What reason?
What were the like key points and conclusion of the entire discussion?
Okay, the main point is that OTT comes with a whole lot of new promise, but also responsibility for us as filmmakers, storytellers, creators, that it doesn't go and fall back into the same system as our theatrical and star system. So I think the discussion was, how do we conserve that? How can we still keep it for all the goodness? Because we know the star system will come into play, but how do we keep telling the good stuff, keep telling the good story, and how do we protect it? You know, it's that.
आई थिंक वो प्रोड्यूसर्स के ऊपर है. प्रोड्यूसर्स को सेफ लगता है कि हम रीमेक करें या कुछ ऐसा जो ऑलरेडी सक्सेसफुल हो चुका है वो वापस बनाए. तो हम जो क्रिएटर्स हैं उनको तो हमेशा ओरिजिनल करने का ही मन करता है. हमारा मन कभी नहीं करेगा कि किसी और का लेके छापो. बट प्रोड्यूसर्स को थोड़ा और कॉन्फिडेंस देना पड़ेगा, ओरिजिनल आइडियाज़ पे थोड़ा रिस्क लेना पड़ेगा. तो आई होप दे डू टेक रिस्क, बिकॉज ओरिजिनल कंटेंट हमारे देश में बहुत है.
और आपने जो बोला ना, ऑस्कर्स में ऑल दैट ब्रीथ्स भी गई थी, जो डॉक्यूमेंट्री है, और बहुत ही कमाल का डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनाया है शौनक सेन और उनके टीम ने. और एलिफेंट विस्परर्स, ऑल दीज आर आवर stories, you know, native to our, you know, beautiful country which is so diverse. तो हमारे पास इतनी कहानियाँ हैं, इतने ओरिजिनल स्टोरीज है. यहाँ पे हर एक इंसान के पास एटलीस्ट 10 ओरिजिनल बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग कहानियाँ होंगे. तो इतना है तो हमें क्यों करें हम रीमेक्स ना. हमारे लिए वही होता है कि यार करने दो ना जो एक कहानी बताने का मन है. हमने तो मैसेज कर दिया, विशेस. बहुत ही खुश है, बहुत. तीनों को जीत जाता, तीनों ही जीत जाते तो और भी अच्छा होता, पर इट डज नॉट मैटर बिकॉज ऑल 3 of them are, you know, incredibly credible. We are ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic.
All right, lastly, you all want to wish anything to your audience or any message for your audience?
You are an audience, I don't know.
Please watch things, all different kinds of shows and movies, ताकि और अच्छी ओरिजिनल चीज़ें बने. और गंदी पिक्चरें और शोज देखना बंद करो क्योंकि उनको व्यूज बढ़ रहे हैं. कभी कभी लोग देख लेते कि ये गंदी, इतनी गंदी है, चल देखते हैं क्यों इतनी गंदी है. वो व्यू रजिस्टर हो रहे हैं, मत देखो.
करेक्ट. थैंक यू.
Danny.